But speaking of end credits, let's just get to spoiler town. If you have not seen the movie, go do something else, come back. We're probably 10 minutes on here. And then you can come back and listen to this. If you've seen it though, good on you. Here we go. What was your favorite part of the movie generally? Like what scenes or what things specifically, or what do you want to talk about when it comes to spoilers?
Well, Dormu, I've come here to bargain. Was it Marmu or something like that? Yeah,
it's so
I've
good.
come here to bargain. Like that scene with obviously dealing with the big bad villain was very cool. It was very funny.
Yes.
It was very original. Like,
and they had
he's just gonna keep killing himself every single. Like, it's funny. It's great.
Yeah, it's the classic. Like, well, it seems like I'm losing, but I'm a distraction. Look, a distraction.
And it's not like every other Marvel movie where you're just gonna punch it into submission or you're gonna shoot it in submission. It's using your brain. It's using your cleverness. Be like, listen, man, we're gonna be stuck in here forever. You know, it's all to you. Let's figure something else out.
Right. You're gonna have to kill me forever. I also thought they did a good job with that particular bad guy. Again, they have a problem. Marvel has a problem with bad guys. They introduce an interesting bad guy and then they just off him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm like, stop doing that. Like, you can't. I hear they don't do it. Mad Milkinson, his character, I can't even remember his name.
He's more like a zealot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. He's interesting. He looks cool, and he has like a cool look to him, and he fights really well, and like his guys are cool. I like I like when it's people on people instead of like people versus alien type stuff, like in all the other Marvel movies. But they give him an interesting backstory. Like, hey, the Ancient One wasn't just pure. She broke a few eggs to make an omelet, and that's what makes her impure or impure, and that's why I feel like I could do a better job, or Dormammu could do a better job. Yeah. But then he just goes away, and the problem with that is like he better come back because that character is interesting and like didn't get enough.
I don't mind him actually dying at the end, only because he was only a zealot. He wasn't a big baddie. He was just kind of spreading the message.
But they're not going to have the problem here is that he's made the bargain, right? He's not coming back because he's like, you can, as long as you leave us alone, you can do whatever you want. Just leave us alone, David, for now, right? But I also thought the Dormammu scene could have been another Galactus scene or another. I'm trying to think of another superhero movie where it's like this ambiguous giant face thing, and it's like it's this incarnation of like pure power and evil, right? And it's like, oh well, we picked a cloud, and it's like, oh my god. Here it's interesting, and it also fits into when he jumps into the dark dimension, and it's like, first of all, that is awesome. Like it looks super cool. Like it is a little like, yeah, man, 1960s, bro. Put on the Doors. Let's listen to that because it's all psychedelic. What
are you talking about, David?
What are you talking about? No, I think it's but it fits, right? This comic book came from I think Doctor Strange was big in the late 70s. I'm pretty sure of that. But it fits that his background, like it's a nod to the fans that read the actual comic books. Yeah. So I appreciate that, and it looked cool. Like it looks kind of like psychedelic, like like take a few hits and then you see.
David, how dare you? We're treading on illegal activity here, David.
Not for a few more days potentially. But
no, it's definitely very cool. Like I said, the visuals, the mind bending stuff.
Yeah.
And I like how they're like, we're doing this crazy stuff where we're manipulating the buildings and all that stuff. Yeah. Like, but we're in the glass dimension. No one else can see. Oh, okay, cool.
Right. And I think
so. I like that little kind of thing to like distract it because like how do other people don't see this? It's a good little, and it makes sense in the movie,
and it looks cool. Like and it's interesting, and how they fight and how they move, and it's
think of like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, very very cool. Yeah, exactly. And I like I love the Ancient One. I think she nails it. I think she plays this cool like
where like she leaves him in Everest.
Yeah,
like, he'll figure it out, and she's like,
maybe. But yeah, that's great. I think. For me, the only thing I didn't enjoy of this movie is the very, very end. I don't like the good guy becomes a bad guy. And I'm like, that's so simple. You have it, what's his name? I can't remember his character's name.
Mordo, right?
Mordo. He, obviously he see, but it's a weird jump, right? Okay, well, the person I was following that I thought was doing the right thing was in fact drawing on power from the evil one to protect, or in her eyes, do the right thing. But because I believe she made a mistake, I'm just going to take out everybody. That's a sorcerer.
That's not what he's doing. No,
he says there's too many sorcerers, and first of all, that's so jacked up. Like if you're going to go after that, hopefully that wasn't the first guy he went after. Like go kill another sorcerer, then take out the guy who's just using it to walk.
He's doing the opposite, like the goody two shoes, where he's like he wants to do everything by the rules to the point where it's to the extreme kind of.
Right, it's the idea that you eventually end up in the same spot, right?
Yeah.
It's that can appreciate that. It's just so simple. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the classic. And again, it's hard for me because these are comic book movies. It's like,
but I don't think he's going to go around with sorcerers and just start killing them. I think he's going to be like, you're not using it right, so I'm going to take the power for myself because I can use it right.
No, but I think it's more than that. I think it's the person I had all my trust in betrayed me, so I trust no one. I think that's his motivation now. And that's such a simple... Like, it's no one does that in real life. When you get burned by like one person, you don't go, I will never trust anyone ever.
That's why
again.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just him like.
But I loved his character before that. I loved him fighting with Doctor Strange.
His boots.
Yeah, it's great. And like I love that Doctor Strange, I like that they don't spend a ton of time with him like learning, because really the problem is it's just book reading, right? So it's like, but the times that they do give him that moment of learning his abilities, it's always interesting, and it's always it is with comedy, like the whole thing with the bringing him to the Mount Everest and dropping him off. It's all very funny. It deals with stuff that people, again, this genre is not explored enough. I think like the sorcery magic stuff. Harry Potter is about the extent that most people
anything
go.
Else doesn't do well. People don't care.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. They did it in a way that was grounded in something, but also very funny. Like the constant,
it's more accessible to everybody, and that's what they've done with all of their movies. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, that's pretty much like a space opera, but my wife loves it, and she doesn't like those kind of high sci-fi movies. Right. And she loves that movie. It's just they just do these genres that no one else really likes for a wide audience so well, and it's just
like the jokes in it, like the Doctor. He keeps saying Mr. Strange. He's like, no, it's Doctor.
Master Strange.
And he's like, Strange. And he's like, yeah, I know it is.
Well, David, let's talk about the hero of the movie for one. Not Doctor Strange. Let's talk about the freaking cape. I forgot what it's called.
Cape of Levitation.
Yes. How cool was... I mean, I know these relics kind of have a mind of their own, quote unquote, and they choose their master or whatever. Yeah. But the cape was awesome.
Yeah, they've gotten
How it like grabbed that guy's head and kept slamming against the ground, and
reminds me of like Apu's magic carpet. Like it has its own little great. But I also
looking all like badass in the mirror, and then just like slap it in the face. You're like, oh, come on, man, stop it.
Exactly,
it's just so good.
It's the comic relief that's necessary in this movie, and they give it to an inanimate object. Mm-hmm. But I am just so convinced that they know how to do like the badass. Like I think of the Iron Man mask coming down, or like I think of Iron Man 2 when he drops the suitcase and he hits it and it just goes.
Yeah.
Like they do that with the cape where he just flips it around his shoulder and it just like lands. It's just like the cool factor is like to 10. It's just like, oh, that's so badass.
Yeah.
Like that's
so
all
cool.
That's all I need. And like I also appreciate that in this movie, Doctor Strange is not like, I'm a big tough, I'm the brawn. I'm just gonna beat up people. He's like, no, I don't want to kill anybody. I'm a doctor. I'm supposed to help people. I want to figure out a way, in a clever way, to trap people into their, back them into an argument and make their logic inconsistent so that they see the errors in their ways, or using like with Dormammu at the end of like, I'm just going to make you my prisoner. You're going to keep killing me, but like you're not getting what you want either. Right. That is brilliant. That's what
I love about it so much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The character is interesting and does things that are different than Hulk smash. And they even make reference like the Avengers protect the physical world, we protect the astro world, or whatever they call it. I love all the relics. I love the books with the chains on it, and like you feel like you're in that library. Like you feel the dust when you blow on the book. Like,
so one thing that's kind of dangerous about these movies is that they introduce time, right, and time travel and time manipulation in this movie, and it's really dangerous because like you can have like, we're obviously going to see Thanos or something, and if you can just revert time and just take the gauntlet, then none of it really matters.
Yeah, well, this is what X-Men: Days of Future Past has run into. When you start messing with time in your movies, then it hurts the stakes of movies, and that's what you're saying.
But I like this was really cool where he can like point the eye, which by the way is an Infinity Stone, and I totally called it. But where you can point it at an object and turn that time back around. So
the Apple scene, like that's what Marvel does, and I should say more movies, not just Marvel, do really well at explaining something to the audience without like, hey, this thing makes objects go back in time. Like it's like, no, show a visual representation. The only time that in this movie they do that I'm always like worried about is like when they say, oh, in the glass dimension no one can see us. It's like you could do that in a more interesting way, where like he disappears and he's like, where did they go? And then sometimes I don't like when it's so on the nose. Like,
well,
hey,
they did the thing where like she walked through the glass dimension, and that was kind of cool.
No, and I just love that she's like this. She's the badass. Like she's
just when she shows up and like schools all the other guys are like, oh god.
And she's got like the yellow jacket thing, and then she's
the hood,
like, just. the costumes in this are great. They're very colorful, which I appreciate because like we've in so many movies we've taken all the color out.
Yeah, the drabness.
Yeah, exactly. But this looks cool. Like he's got like the blue and the red cape. Like he looks honestly a little ridiculous. But
no, like when he walks out of the sanctum and people are like, "What the heck are you wearing?"
Or like she falls from the glass, the ancient one, and they're like looking at her and like it's this weird outfit.
Or it's like in the hospital, she's like, "What are you wearing?"
Yeah, but they deal with some interesting concepts here. You know, this idea that I said, like cracking a few eggs to make an omelet. Like, is it appropriate to draw on evil in order to use its power to effectuate good? Like, who knows? That's an interesting concept. That's interesting, like to put into a Marvel movie. Usually, it's like that guy's bad. I'm good. He wants to destroy the world. I want to save it. Okay, that's our motivations. Where here it's interesting, and so. They kill the Ancient One, which I'm like, oh, why'd you do that? Like, that was an interesting thing, but we'll see what happens. I think Doctor Strange plays that fiddle of like, he's like, hey, we'll mess with natural law as long as it benefits us, right? But it's like, how far are you going to go with that? Slippery slope, man. So, and of course, the end, talking to Thor, I'm happy. Like, put Doctor Strange in Ragnarok. Is that confirmed or is that?
I guess so. I mean,
is that confirmed? Is it like I
don't know. He must be. I mean, maybe he'll stop by. There was a while they were filming Thor, he was holding the address of the Sanctum.
Yeah,
like while filming. So I'm assuming he's gonna be involved in some way.
That's cool. Again,
like, I love. Can you find my brother? Yeah, he's over here. Okay, cool. Thanks.
It was his dad, but yeah. Again, great movie. Go see it. Enjoy it. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the bad one.
Yeah.
And at this point, like I said, it's not that they're bad. It's not that they've gotten worse. It's just expected. So I go walk out. I'm like, that was good. Is exactly what I thought it was going to be. I'm not impressed. Like, I'm like, meh. You're just like all your other movies. What else are you going to do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, speaking of Disney movies, this week, we've got one more segment here for you guys. We're doing our Pinnacle of Filmical.
Yes.
We are on number 91. Almost. We've done 10 movies.
Almost.
Well, this will be the 10th, right? Because it's always weird, right? Back in the day, my grandfather used to trip me out when I was like really young. He's like, yeah, so you have 6 fingers. You know that, right? And I was like, what? Or you have 6 fingers on one hand. He's like, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. So you have 6. And I was like, I lost my mind. But that was the trick he pulled on me. But anyway, the movie this week is the
1995 biopic Toy Story.